Well, I was just taking a little good look at this counter shaft real quick, and I stuck this piece of 3/4 DOM tube through just so I could kind of do a mock-up here and figure out how things are going to go together and what I need to adjust or modify. But what I thought was kind of neat is, this shaft is short enough. You could use a 3/4 shaft on here. Now I have some material that I can use for that, but of course with this 7/8, that's not going to work out. But there is some scoring and stuff in these bearings anyways, and the thought occurred to me that if in fact this was too bad to use, and it really isn't, but you could do this anyways, is you can go ahead, and I got a little piece of brass or bronze here. I'm not sure what it is, to tell you the truth, mystery metal, but I could machine some bushings to go in here and then just go 3/4 inch. Not very difficult, and we'll make future repairs if they're needed, which they shouldn't be if the thing is kept oiled, but we'll make future repairs of those bearings a little bit easier. Of course I could bush the pulley and everything to make that work, but it is workable. You could do that, and I may do that. I haven't decided yet. I would probably rather just get the proper size 7/8 inch shaft to replace this worn out piece of crap. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I did think that maybe this will help somebody at some point, is just giving them an idea if that is an option, to just go down to 3/4 inch. Alright, on to the next bit.
Well, I just gave my follower rest a little soak in the gas bucket. I figured I'd go ahead and paint it up. You see all that paint is just super loose. You can wipe it off basically with your hands. So I just got a little scrub with the wire brush, and it'll be ready for some new paint. My apron casting, I just have it sitting down in there in the gas bucket. And I actually see one that's sitting up on eBay, so I think I'm going to try and buy it. And I'll probably still down the line try to repair that casting just in case, for the experience. Windy today. Been cleaning up my pulley. It's almost ready for paint. It's got a few little specks on it here and there that need to be gotten off. That was a pain in the butt, by the way, because it's aluminum. I couldn't put it in the dip. And yeah, I probably could have thrown it in the gasoline bucket, but I just ended up wire brushing most of this off. And I'll go ahead and paint it. Then probably after I paint it, well, this is going to be re-drilled up here for a set screw. And put a set screw in there. And then, I don't know, yeah, probably after I paint it, I will go ahead and mount this on a mandrel in the lathe, and just come by and skim this and maybe face the edges here, and probably take this hub here and turn it down a little bit and face it off, and maybe the other side too, just to make it look nice so it's not all beat up. Got a little old motor here. I don't really think this is going to be powerful enough to run the lathe on a long-term basis. It's only 1/6 horse, but the motor that I'm looking for a motor with this basically the same kind of profile and look. So I'll mount this up probably see how it does. Maybe it has enough torque to get me by for a while. I'll probably take the end caps off and go ahead and rotate them so that these oil cups here, see what gets oilers, are right side up, because mounting this on the lathe, of course, it's going to be sideways. So that's not good. We want to make sure those bearings are able to get the oil that they need in order to run the lathe. And I can't use that 1-horse motor, Craftsman motor, that came with the lathe because, not only is it too big and too powerful, but it's also a 3400, I think. But the thing runs at like 3,000 RPM. It's just going to run way too fast. These motors the motors that these were meant to run were going to run anywhere between 1,400 and 1,700 RPM. So, which is your, standard motor speeds. So, we'll see. Alright, on to the next clip. Well, I've got my follower all painted up and just went ahead and mounted it. Probably won't see too much time, but there has been a couple of occasions where I needed it. And of course it wouldn't mount to the Atlas. This is not made for an Atlas, it's made for South Bend, so kind of a nice thing to have. I looked on eBay. These things are pretty damn pricey now, and the steady rest too. And I was thinking, because this looks exactly the same, like the same casting that the South Bend Steadies used, so I'm thinking I can have somebody come in here and mill the, or actually it would be on the other side, mill a notch to clear the V-way. I could use that on here as well. Be able to use it on either lathe that way, I think. So yeah. I got my gearbox painted up, and I just stuck it on there because I didn't want it sitting around and possibly getting dinged up or scratching the paint up on it prematurely. Because, it is a tool. Now, I don't know how long this paint's going to look this pretty. Probably never look this good again. But, well, probably not at least as long as I own it. But, anyhow, I still haven't gotten felts yet, so need to go get felts. And I'm thinking too, as far as my apron goes, I found on eBay for sale, somebody's got a apron casting up, 9A, 9B apron casting. So I'm gonna try, if I can get that for a reasonable price, then I will just go that route. And, cross my fingers that casting's not worn out. But if it is, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. With the way I see it, with the labor involved, and the materials cost and everything, like I say, if I can get that casting cheap enough, I probably won't worry about my original casting for quite some time. Though I will keep it, and I will eventually make a repair on that. Just because I can, more for the experience, and I'll probably slap that up on YouTube, and it'll interest somebody. Maybe somebody will learn something from it, and I'll probably learn something from it as well in the process. So, on to the next bit. Well, as you can see, I've got her all lined up now, and that gear stud or bushing or whatever you want to call it, machined down to size so that it's not too long anymore. And I must say, that was some real nice machined steel too. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe that was some of that 12L14 I keep hearing about. It's supposed to be so nice machining. Haven't machined any of it myself, but maybe that's what it is, so maybe I have. But in any case, it cut like butter, and it cut real smooth.
And now that's on there. So this gear, let's see, it is there we go. It is slightly off now, but I left enough room in the bushing where I could put a little shim washer behind there and shim it out, and it'll line up, but then it's sitting proud of this gear, so I'll need to put a little shim washer in this to push it out. I put one in here just to get out to here, and this sits flush. See if I can catch it in the video. This will sit flush now with the spindle gear, or spline, or whatever you want to call it. So I can't shim this out anymore, otherwise this will sit proud of that those splines there on the spindle. So yeah, just need to add one little washer in here, and one little washer back here, and then that should line up with the gear to go into the gearbox, and it should all run nice that way. Okay. I just got back from the swap meet earlier. Picked up this ancient GE motor. Probably wouldn't have got it if I had seen that shaft, but this was on it when I bought it. And I said, oh hell, I'll use that wire wheel. My old one's getting pretty worn out. Anyhow, and I picked up this one too. They're both 3rd horse. Funny, this is almost exactly the same size and everything as this motor here. This is only a 6th horse. I wonder how they did that. They must have used thinner windings or something and had more of them. Anyway, so nice. They're both GE. GE makes good stuff. This has this little serpentine belt pulley on it, and it's about the right size. It is really kind of tempting to put this in the lathe and machine it to work with that serpentine belt, but I'm not going to do that, I don't think. I'll just use the old V-belt setup the way that they had it originally. And even the cord on this is in really nice shape, and I was just looking, and it's long enough to make it over here to my my drum switch. So that's nice. Happy about that. This motor had on it this mount, which I don't know. I took it out of the mount, but that's anybody knows what that's for? I'm kind of curious to know. I'm thinking it might have come out of an old washing machine. So, alright, I also picked up these really nice antique bolt cutters. And I'll go ahead and I'll clean them up, and they'll be nice. Yeah, there's a little nick up there. That's not a big deal. I think I can regrind that and adjust that so that they work properly. And also got a little mini vise while I was there. You know, that's a little bit loose. I can tighten it up, but anyhow, these are nice. They're really handy little vices to have. So if you see one of these, pick it up. And you know, for just doing a little small work and stuff. I almost think you can't really have enough vices. I've had, you know, at one point I had several vices, and I gave a couple of them away. In fact, I just found another one I ended up giving away to a friend of mine who needed one. So, yeah, you know, I think Tubal Cain was mentioning that in one of his videos. He's just like, you know, I have them, but I just, yeah, when I see them, I have to buy it. Kind of bummed too. Some guy had a really nice set of Craftsman dial calipers. I only wanted $25 for them. I just didn't have any money left at that point. So I go with a certain amount of money, and when I spent that cash, that's it. Anyhow, so that's what's going on with that. So we've got a couple motors. This I can probably restore it and use it, and probably get that in the lathe and machine that out straight. So, alright, see you in the next clip. Okay, so I just cleaned my junky motor up somewhat, or rather just cleaned the plate. And what I did to do this was I just used a little bit of my trusty old naphtha here and paper towel and started rubbing on it, and it took that you know, aluminum paint off that somebody put on this at some point in the past. And so yeah, now I can read all that. Yeah, this motor will get fixed up and will get used, you know. I'll get it in the, take it apart, I'll put the armature in the lathe and machine that out so it's nice and straight, and then probably have to put a sleeve or something on that. And so I'm thinking I may use this motor over on my Atlas, because I wanted for some time to take this motor off. This is a really nice 3rd horse Craftsman motor, but it's a bench motor, and I want to take that and make it into my bench grinder, wire wheel, whatnot, you know. Buffer. You know, I've got mandrels and everything that'll go on this, that I could put either a grinding wheel or a wire wheel or whatnot on there, buffing wheels. I've got over on this grinder over here, I've got one of the I don't know what to call these exactly, but it's a it is a mandrel of sorts. It's got a tapered thread on it. So, and eventually I need to machine a 1/2 inch 13 left-hand threaded nut to put this back to its original configuration, because it got lost at some point. I've been working on wiring the motor.